Hello. I haven't been on this software for so long. I'm going to take a second to see what comments are coming. Leave me a comment to let me know that the comments are working because sometimes they don't. And it would be really weird if I came back and you were here, but I couldn't hear you. So, hi, happy New Year. It's been a minute since I've been online with you. We have a lot to catch up on, and I have a lot of really good news. Hi, Missy. I'm so glad to see you here. You guys are the best ever. Instead of going, you stayed away, stay away. We don't want you anymore. You'll welcome me back. I'm so grateful for that. Please, please never think that I take that for granted. It's such a gift. So, my new time. Uh, Hi, happy New Year, Cheryl, and hello, Annette. I'm glad to see everybody. Hi. Oh, yeah. Did anyone stay up on till midnight on New Year's Eve just to make sure 2023 really ended and that it didn't have any more to give us? Because that was the kind of year I had. Hello, Angie. Oh, wow. Hello, everybody. It's good to see you all. So I have new things. I have new plans. Let's talk about some updates. I have I have new content for you. But I'll show you that in a bit. What am I going to do first? I went to so the last time we talked, I was getting ready. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to turn that off. I thought I muted this site. Let's try that. Okay. The last time we talked was probably right after my son had brain surgery last year. And that took a lot of mental work for me. And that was all going up into it because other than the three days we spent in the hospital with him, he came home, I think on day 3 or 4, crazy, went back to work full time within 5 weeks. I expected to be over there helping to take care of the family. But no, as soon as my husband and I came home from the hospital, my husband went back to work and got COVID and then gave it to me. And by the time I got over COVID, my son was better. Very strange. Missy, you made it to 12:15. Yeah, that's about what I did, but I needed to make sure it wasn't sneaking back in. 2023 was a rough one. Yeah, we had a lot going on in that year. Hello in Florida, Luann. It's good to see. Oh, Belinda, it's good to see my friend Belinda. Um, and I'll explain that in a minute. So, yeah, so I did that and I was recovering from COVID round 2, which wasn't nearly as bad as round 1. If you have underlying issues like I do, the antivirals, fantastic. It made it a 3-week festival of COVID rather than a 4-month festival of COVID, with a couple months of recovery. So that's probably the last time I came to see you was when I got COVID, part 2. Then I was dealing with severe back pain. I have a herniated disc. And after this, I'll be running off to physical therapy because we're trying all the non-surgical options possible. And this morning, I just got back from a specialist. I've been really tired and I have some some lingering effects from my first round of COVID, believe it or not, that they found. So I'm having some heart problems and they think they should be able to be fixed with some medications within the next 6 months. So I'm still going to be tired for a while. Like I wanted to come live yesterday, but I fell asleep and I did take a nap before I came online here. So I will be very, very tired. For a while, but I'm ahead a little bit on content. Let's see, Angie. Oh, Angie, no, you're only able to tune in because you're home with COVID. Oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry. It has just torn through a lot of my family this round. I got the last one and the one before. Um, so get better soon. I hope you have the version rather than the oh please kill me version. And whatever version you have, that it goes away in 5 days and you never have to think about it again. So I'm going to be limiting what I'm doing because I don't want to overpromise. I don't want to tell you all the things I want to do and get sick again and end up not being able to bring you all the great content I had in mind because my body wasn't behaving. So What I've decided is one Facebook Live a week, and it should be on Wednesday afternoons. Now, some doctor appointments and things I have may cause that to move, but I'll put that out in a newsletter. It's funny, I just got notified that I should be ready to start my live video. Thank you for that. Angie, I'm glad you're not praying for death yet. My first round of COVID, I didn't really care if I lived or died by the end. I didn't at all. And the second round of COVID, it was the chills that got me, but that was only 3 days and then just 2.5 weeks of a bad cold. So I really hope this is short and quick for y'all, and the rest of you, wash your hands. So I'm going to do one Facebook Live a week. It should be on Wednesday afternoons. I may have to move it to Tuesdays occasionally with travel or with doctor appointments and things like that. Because some of my doctors, if I can get them, I go whenever they say. I don't care if it's, I don't care if dignitaries are at my house. I'm leaving to get that appointment. So for those of you who are in As the Bobbin Turns, there is a new video in As the Bobbin Turns. It's apparently been a while since I edited video because I downloaded everything from my camera to my computer, and then I plugged it in, and I'm trying to edit it, and I couldn't hear it. So I'm like, oh, did I drop the camera? What's going on? And I'm playing around with the software. And then I'm like, well, maybe the wire is bringing the video in, but not the audio. So I changed and actually the first wire wouldn't connect. The second wire, I couldn't get any sound. And then I put a third wire in and couldn't get any sound. So then I shut down the computer and rebooted the computer. I re-downloaded my software program. Still no sound. And then I went back and played a video from my camera, not through the program, and I could hear it because apparently I had turned the sound off in the video program. So it was a bit of a mess, but I'm back, and I now know where the button is to not turn the sound off. And I was even playing with that button, but I kept thinking I was turning it on. So it's going to take a little while for me to get back up to speed. I think in the last year, I've grown my bangs in. So that's how long it's been since I've done any of this. So what's new with color blocks this year? I'm going to do another year of color blocks. It's not going to have a theme. It may have an animal or two, but so far it doesn't. And I have about 10 of the months figured out. So let me pull up a picture of the color blocks quilt that is already in the new class. And in this description, that is where you go to sign up for the new class. If you signed up for 2023, you can still get all the class from 2023. It'll be free for you always if you're already signed up. 2024, again, free. You can sign up all year for free. And then if I close the class at the end of the year, it's still yours for free. It's just other people will have to pay for it. So there's a new class, and let me show you what the new quilt is. Where's my window? Again, this is software that I haven't used in months and months. So this is Let It Snow. And as I was looking at it after I made it, I was thinking I used like a darker periwinkle, since my cream blocks are very yellowy. I wanted more of a gray background rather than a bright blue, but I can see some of you doing a white background or a gray background with a blue snowflake on it. But as I'm looking at the picture, which I never looked at the picture big before, I'm seeing a square right around the middle of the quilt, and that I might have to do something with that. But this quilt is 72 by 72, and you can fit it on 2 widths of backing, which is nice. You don't have to put on a third width. It was, the directions are in there, but I think it was like 21, 23 blocks, something like that. And it went together really quickly. It's a lot of background. I think it's over 5 yards of background, but I really like the Let It Snow quilt. Now, let me get back to see you. Hello. Ashley, it's good to see you here too. I'm so happy to be back. It's been a long year. I've been sick for 13 months. I'm not quite up yet, but I got some really encouraging news from a specialist today. And I made my husband drive me to the appointment because it was really far away. Yay, being in New York where you can get to doctors. So that is Let It Snow. You can sign up for the Let It Snow and all the other quilts that'll come. This one's mostly going to be seasons. So think on that. These can be seasonal, but you can use them wherever. Janet, it's good to catch you live. Found me by accident. I'm so happy to see you, Janet. I've been watching your building online. It's been beautiful to see. You must be so happy. So that's what's been going on with color blocks. Now, I've had that quilt planned for a while. I think the last quilt I did was the pigs, which is behind this quilt. It's still on the board. I haven't quilted it yet. And this quilt is Grandma's album from 2022. That class is still open and free, so you can join that as well. Go to DebbyBrownQuilts.com and just click online classes button and you'll find all my classes. So let's see. After I said I was dealing with the COVID, and then I was dealing with the disc pain and some heart problems that were just keeping me offline and not doing much. I went away on my first real grown-up trip in 4 years. After I got out of the hospital last winter, a girlfriend and I decided that, heck, life is short and we're going to do it. We booked a trip to primitive gatherings in Wisconsin. For people who don't know, I don't live in Wisconsin. I don't live near Wisconsin. I live in New York. And we'd booked it 9 months in advance. And I will tell you, worth every penny. Best retreat I've ever been to in my life, and I've taught at many. They thought of everything. Everyone there was waiting just to make you feel special, and that like they were glad you were there. And my new friend Belinda, I met there. So I highly recommend it if anyone likes primitive gatherings. I watched them build the retreat facility, and I highly recommend going. Let me see if I can pull up a few pictures. Talk amongst yourselves. I didn't do this ahead of time because I was asleep. Where are all these pictures coming from? So apparently the answer is going to be no, but I'll put them in the newsletter. I'm going to send a newsletter out for y'all. And I'll send a picture of my primitives gatherings. We made 3 projects, which I've finished none of them. I finished a quilt top ornament that says ho, ho, ho. So I'll be asking you how I should quilt that. I did not finish my embroidered, hand-stitched wooden trees. So there's a lot of needlework there. And then there was a wool table topper. So the projects were great. I finished 2 quilts of my own at the retreat, and it was wonderful. What I did notice about Wisconsin, I've been to Wisconsin extensively, but as I was packing, I'm like, oh, the weather is going to be, it's going to be in the 30s and up to the 40s. It's not going to be that cold. 42 in New York, I don't wear a coat. 42 in Wisconsin, bundle up. They have wind. It was cold. Now, it wasn't real cold, like as cold as they get, but it was cold. So yeah, I did take a trip, and my girlfriend was there just to make sure that, that I had a great time because we went together. But she also is a great support system to help me travel when I'm not walking very well or feeling very well. So it was just great. Definitely do it. 2 thumbs up on primitive gatherings, 2 thumbs up on retreats. I love everything they do, and I have to work really hard to not look at a lot of it because as a designer, I want to make sure that I'm not stealing any designs from anyone else. I try to come up with designs that once you see it, you're like, yeah, anyone could do that. It would, anyone could have done that. Yep, these are squares and triangles. It's not a big deal. Hello, Belinda. Yes, wonderful. I had so much fun there. And that was really the first quilting I'd done at all since probably the end of August until the beginning of December. So I'm not doing a lot, but I did make the Let It Snow quilt, and hopefully by the end of the month I'll have it quilted for you and have a video up on how to quilt it. It'll either be done on my home sewing machine, which is being a little fussy right now, or I'll do it on my stationary long arm behind me. If you're a long arm quilter on a traditional long arm machine, you can take the same instructions and adapt it to your type of quilting. I long arm as well, but I don't film on it. It's harder to film. So that was, let's see, I have a list of all the things I wanted to talk about. I'm not going to do them all today. Another Belinda story. That Belinda, I have a question for you. At primitive gatherings, they had pressing stations. Now, I have a pressing station in my sewing room, and it is a high table. It's about 24, 28, 30 inches deep by almost 6 feet wide. And I do all my pressing on there. And I came home and I started to press. But the pressing stations at primitive gatherings had steam irons. And I don't mean a traditional iron that you put a little water in. I'm talking about the steam reservoirs on the floor. And you have the hose that goes up to the iron and it goes and you get steam everywhere and it gets pressed beautifully and fantastic. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I came home and used my regular iron. I went, is this thing on? Because I don't think it's pressing anything. So I bought a steam iron is what happened. And I'll show you that in the newsletter. Their Laura Starr is like the clothing manufacturer, fashion designer type of really high-end iron. Think 4 figures. I did get a Rowenta, and I'm happier than anything. I've only been sewing with it a few days, but love it, love it. I have family that typically sends me money for Christmas. Like, here, go buy yourself some shoes. I know you love shoes, which I do. But I love this iron so much that I chose to not buy shoes and I bought an iron. That's how cool the iron is. Does anybody else have one? Leave a comment if you have one. Because I don't know how I lived without it. And I have had to warn my husband. He hasn't been home and I've used it yet because I only have about 6-8 good hours a day. After that, I'm just kind of resting. But I had to warn him, it makes a noise because you press it, it goes as the steam goes through. So I just wanted to warn him so he doesn't come running to figure out what broke. He's an engineer and he's always looking for problems because that's his job. So if he hears something, he's like, is that a problem? Or like if I drop an ice cube on the floor, he'll look to see what's leaking. And if I didn't like him, I would drop ice cubes on the floor a lot to make him search for a leak. But there's no leak. I just dropped an ice cube and didn't see it or couldn't bend over to pick it up. Cheryl, better than shoes? Yeah, it's better than shoes. And I know those of you who know me know what that means, that I bought a steam iron over a pair of shoes. Yeah, it was really good. It's really worth it. What else do I have here? So I've talked about the cutie quilt. The color block quilt. I should have a picture of that. Not the color block quilt. Sorry, the As the Bobbin Turns quilt is called Committed. And it's because I should be committed. It had nearly 3,000 separate pieces of fabric in it. They're 1.5-inch squares. So I show how I quilted the quilt, but what I didn't do was put the pattern in there. I didn't write the pattern. Let me know if you want the pattern for that. If you're in the As the Bobbin Turns, and I'll throw the pattern in there for you. I have a box, and it's about the size of a boot box. All about the shoes. About the size of a boot box full of 1.5-inch squares of my scraps. And I took out 24, 25, 2,600 1.5-inch squares to make this quilt. And the box doesn't look any less full. You can't tell that I made an entire quilt out of this. And that really is sad. Belinda, you have the Rowenta steam station like we used at retreat. I do now. But you want the Laura Star, but have to win the lottery first. Yeah. 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 I've driven cars. Well, I've driven cars cheaper than the Rowenta iron. So I've definitely driven cars cheaper than the Laura iron. And speaking of, I bought a new car last week. We're at a season where we're going. So that's kind of fun. I'm learning all the new bells and whistles. My husband and I we have elderly parents, and our parents conveniently are in the same city. So we do go back and forth checking on them. And our cars were 10 and 20 years old, and it was time because we're going to be going back and forth, and we needed a bigger vehicle to hold more people as we're dealing with our parents and such. But as my husband was driving on the highway this morning, this is the first time he's driven my car. And he was trying out all the bells and whistles, like, look, if I let go of the steering wheel, it keeps it in the center of the lane. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome, honey. Put your hands back on the steering wheel. So he's like, I'm going to have to get the book and read all about this. Did I mention he's an engineer? Yeah. But anyway, I have a new car that I refuse to park in my garage because it's a bigger car. So I leave it outside and make him back it out. We're going to have a battle of wills to see how long it takes for me to learn how to park the car inside the garage without ripping off the mirrors, which I have done on a smaller car. I'm a bad parker, and I'm the reason why women have a stereotype of not being able to park. That's on me. I'm sorry, ladies. It's all my fault. What else do I have to talk? I have more, but that's what I wanted to start with. What I would plan to do for this year is a cutie quilt every month. Next month's top is already made. Next month is February. You might guess a theme and pick a color that you might prep ahead of time. But the pattern will come out on the first Wednesday of the month. I have hopes that I will have a cutie quilt out and a how to quilted video on YouTube. I don't think YouTube is working today. On this video, it wasn't connecting, but I'll look into that before the next one. But I'll have a new YouTube video out once a month, how to quilt this quilt once a month, and we'll talk about how to quilt our quilts. So we're all going to do it mostly on Wednesday afternoon, except if I have to move it occasionally for major events like I'm not home. So what's new with you? I hope you had a good 2023 and are looking forward to an even better 2024. My first thought of 2024 was I made a Let It Snow quilt, and our Christmas plans didn't happen because my daughter's wife got COVID. So we scheduled them again for New Year's Day. And that didn't happen because my daughter got COVID. And then we're scheduling it for this Sunday, where my Let It Snow quilt is apparently working because we haven't really had significant snow last winter at all. And we did not have any snow yet this year. There's a few flurries outside, but nothing major. We're going to let it snow on my Christmas plans this weekend. And in our area, there's a guy who's really into weather, like really into weather. He goes and he looks at this model and then that model. And if this changes, then the forecast will change this way. It's called Hudson Valley Weather. And he's not a meteorologist. He's just someone who really loves weather. And he has a thing called Hudson Valley Weather. The Hudson River, I'm in the Hudson River Valley. So he showed the 3 different models of what's going on with the storm this weekend. And the lowest one says 5.5 inches where I live. The highest one says 16 inches where I live. But he reports it like up. He gives an hour-long talk at night about what the weather's doing. Don't you love seeing people talk about what they're passionate about? So he's in snow mode because we really didn't have snow last year. So he was putting out preparedness, how to prep your car, what you need to have in the house. I just love finding people who are passionate about anything, talking about what it is they're passionate about. It's pretty exciting. Cheryl, you want to kick 2023 to the curb? Yes. Don't let it come back. Teresa, hi, Happy New Year. Kathy, yeah, we're gonna get snow. I did talk to my daughter today, and we're like, yeah, it's not gonna happen this weekend. And my daughter and my son, we all live about 100 miles apart, so they're all gonna hit us. We're like Hartford, Albany, it's all over the place. Oh, and Tara, Happy New Year. Good to see you there. You're expecting snow this weekend, 5 inches. You're staying inside and stitching and snowing. Yes, that steam iron will keep me warm in here. And I have all the food planned for Christmas in case it happens. Formal dinner for 9 people, exciting things for grandkids, but I don't want to have a major meal for 9 planned if no one's coming. So I think I'm going to adjust the plans and make it something that can stay in the freezer till Sunday morning, like steaks and shrimp. I have a grandson who loves shrimp. anytime we get together, I try to do something memorable with them. They're my only grandchildren. There's 3 of them. But on the other side, there's like a dozen of them. So we're not the exciting house where they can go and hang out with the cousins. So I try to do other things. And I made a shrimp boil for them. Throw corn and sausage and potatoes and shrimp and boil it up with Old Bay and all of that. Well, my younger grandson, we just dumped it on the table, and there was shrimp. He had never had shrimp that had shells on it before, and that kid just went, peeled it and ate it, peeled it and ate it, peeled it and ate it. And by the time any of us thought to ask if he needed help, he had a pile of shells like this in front of him. That kid can eat pounds of shrimp. So that always gets put on as something we might want to make for them because we have a big shrimp eater. It's kind of fun that way. But if they don't come, yeah, I think I'll enjoy using my steam iron, and maybe I'll get to baste up the quilt and get some machine quilting done and just let it snow. I'll admit, I'm a kid. I like snow days, that I don't have to go anywhere. I mean, I did just get a 4-wheel drive car, so I can go somewhere, but I don't want to. I was planning on hitting the grocery store this afternoon. I don't really need anything if we're not going to have the company. And even if we have company, I can get by. But if it looks like first snowstorm in 2 years, New York craziness, let's go, storm the gates of the grocery store, and I can't find a parking space, not going, because that's insane, and I don't need to be around that many people. Sorry, my watch just keeps beeping. So anyway, I'm having a very good day. I've already had a nap. I'm sure I'll have another. And I'm going to go to PT where my physical therapist looks like Kit Harington. Do any of you know who that is? Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. He looks just like that. And that is not a problem. So, but he tricks me. Physical therapy, they make it sound like you're going, we're going to do some massage, and it sounds like a spa. It's not. They trick you into exercising, and it's not fair. But I'm at I will try voodoo if that's what it takes to try to unherniate my disc, because it hasn't been a pleasant experience. So yeah, I'm going to go be grumpy and do all the stupid movement things. Kathy, you love Jon Snow? Yeah, he's my physical therapist. His name's Sean, but it's Kit Harington, basically. Now, Game of Thrones introduced me to my favorite actor, who is Jason Momoa. But Jon Snow's not really hard either, except they're all very young. He's younger than my kids. So there's that. But anyway, he's a very nice guy. So I think that's what I have for you today. I will talk more. I'm going to be destashing. I have other things to do. Oh, I'm doing a year-long quilt along with Primitive Gatherings that I'll talk about. I'll have that in next week's. I'm going to switch it over to my calendar just to make sure so I don't leave you with the wrong date. Next week is the 9th. Wednesday? Yeah, next week is going to be on a Tuesday because I have a back procedure next week, like injections and all of that, and I will physically be at the hospital during this time. So I won't be here. We will have this 2:30 next Tuesday, and I'll have that in the newsletter. And I'll tell you more about all of that then. But until then, cut all your fabric scraps up into 2.5-inch squares. Cheryl, you missed PT. It was a great experience. I'm only 2 weeks in. It's a racket. They're tricking me into exercising. But I'm afraid it might be working. What is this? If I move more, things will go well? Not fair. Denise, nice to see you again. I will be back next Tuesday. And again, I'm going to roll things out slowly just because I don't want to have to say we're doing this and then stop because my health got in the way. So I'm going to take it at a slower pace this year. And I so appreciated all of your thoughts and comments and emails and well wishes. You guys are truly the best. So you were my best Christmas present this year. Kathy, you made 10 blocks yesterday for Comfort Quilts. And Cheryl, 4 months after shoulder replacement. Yeah. I'm trying to not have them do really evil things to my spine, and just to put a nice little spin on it, I herniated L4, L5, which is above your sacroiliac tailbone. It is the absolute lowest part of your back. So it's basically your butt. It's very exciting to have to exercise your butt. Yeah, good times. And, no humiliating experiences have ever come from this at all. Anytime I go to the doctors, because if they want to poke around your spine, it's your butt. That's my life. But every day above ground is a beautiful day, and I'm very happy to be here and quilting and be with you. I will be back next Tuesday. I will be here at 2:30 in the afternoon. And for new folks who don't know, my favorite joke from when I was a child was, what is a dentist's favorite time? Tooth hurty. So that joke has cracked me up for 50 some years. And so whenever I schedule things, it's at 2:30 in the afternoon because it's now my favorite time too. I'll be back Tuesday at 2:30 in the afternoon, New York time, and I will see you then. Thank you for all of your love. I hope you have an amazing start to this year, and wait for your newsletter. It'll be coming out shortly. Bye. I can't find the button to turn this off. There it is. Bye.